Well, hello, fellow addicts. Welcome back to Addicts Live. Here we are, September already. Eesh. The
Yeesh.
weather's changing, and well, the good news is The Simpsons are coming back on TV. A couple more weeks, so we'll have all new episodes, which is always fun. Um, and before you know it, it's going to be Halloween in our pocket-sized Springfields. This year went fast. 2017 went fast. Feels like it was just January. Feels like we were just yelling about Homer the Heretic, Pat, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like it was barely 2016, and now it's 2017, and that's going to be 2018. And which is much more obvious to old people because we have so few of these transitions left. We just boom.
When I was a kid, my dad I used to be so excited. I was like, oh, I can't wait for Christmas. I can't wait for Christmas. My dad was like, when you get older, it's going to come really quick. And you're going to be like, oh my God, it's Christmas already. And that's what's happening.
Yeah, trust me. Trust me. Christmas is sandwiched in between these two weddings. Oof. I don't want to talk about it.
A November full of birthdays in this house. So it's going to be.
So do we. So what we have to do is figure out, was it really that boring in our parents' households in February? Apparently so, because it was mostly me. I mean, we have 5, I think, in November.
That's my husband's November baby. My sister-in-law's a November baby. My mother-in-law is a November baby. My father-in-law is a November baby. My child is a November baby. Let's see. We've got our anniversaries in November. So my sister's a November baby. It's like a lot of cousins and stuff. Yes, but February must have been a very boring month for a lot of
Christmas
people.
Is kind of a letdown then. Christmas is like,
well, no, my birthday's in June, so I'm happy with Christmas.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
I'll take Christmas. But let's see. We probably should say, for those who don't know, I'm Melissa, the resident head addict. And joining us this week, in case you haven't already figured it out, is the one, the only, not so cranky old guy, although I think he's finding his crank once again. Patric?
There's things that are making me cranky. And just for those of you who missed Joe, I'll do it like this. Hey! So there we go. That was just, for anybody that was missing Joe, I just thought
Yes, Wook is not able to join us this week. His House of Mouse has stolen him from us today. Unfortunately, couldn't get his schedule changed. That's what happens when he goes back to school. So hopefully he'll be able to
drive the train, though. Maybe he's driving the train. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Wookie has started a crash course in the Disneyland Railroad. So, but hopefully he'll be on the next broadcast, and I do think we'll have at least one other guest next week, although he probably isn't a guest anymore, but I do think Safi will be joining us next week too. So this week you get the two of us, which is always fun. It harkens back to the first video we did, which was about a year ago.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
You believe we've been doing this for a year?
Yeah, again, let's not talk about the whole time flying thing, It's like I'm starting to name all the hairs on my head and mourn them when they leave, things like that, Although I have lots of hair, although it's really cruddy this morning. This is my morning hair look. You don't want to see it. Put the hat back on. So,
well, we should say, tune in. I think it's going to be next week. We're going to have our Blogiversary special, which is the where we answer your questions, which we've already recorded, and you're going to see a side of Patric you may not have seen before. So
I'm hoping you edited that because we had some serious technical issues on that one.
Yeah, I haven't played around with the video. Honestly, I re-recorded it. Then I jumped into like 10 other things I was doing, so I haven't even listened to it. So I don't even know if it sounds okay.
I think it sounds good. There's just big gaps of going, Wookie.
Yes.
Wookie.
Yes, we lost. It's almost like he's here today because it's the same thing.
All we need is a frozen picture of his head.
Yeah. So stay tuned next week when we air that, because you'll probably get a big kick and figure out exactly what it is we're talking about. Because right now you're all probably going, "What the heck are they talking about?"
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to it, my friends. I apologize for the noise. We have a cranky, almost 2-year-old who needs a nap, who was just finishing her lunch. We're running around this morning. So We just got back home, which is why we're a little bit late, and I apologize. It's my fault. Remember, this is meant to be interactive, so ask your questions, share your comments, and let's get to chatting on the show. We'll, you know, of course, as always, we'll talk about what it is you're saying, aside from what it is we're saying. I mean, Pat and I have no problem holding a conversation for a good 45 minutes to an hour, but it's more fun when you guys are participating too. So the first thing I want to do is let's plug the poll. As we do each episode, we do something interactive, something fun. This one, since Homerpalooza ends Tuesday, so you've got like 4 more days. We figured let's grade the Homerpalooza event, especially since many of you are already done. So your options are A, B, a C, a D, or an F. And for the reader, let's see, what was your name again? Reader Jack, who asked if my alphabet E had been replaced by F in my alphabet. No, but that's the American grading system. I'm pretty sure that's a lot of other grading systems too. It goes A, B, C, D, F. So,
correct.
All right. So, Pat, what are your Homerpalooza? What are your overall thoughts? What grade would you give it?
You know, if I actually had to grade the whole thing, unfortunately, it ends up being like most of the major events lately. It starts out good. It's really fun. It's exciting. And then the grind-o-matic at the end drags it down. So, you know, I'm going to give it a B minus probably. And that's probably gracious because I literally did not. In fact, I haven't played the game for 2 days. There you go. I don't care about getting the extra donuts. I don't care about grinding. Once I got the underwhelming Cletus and his truck, which you can read about in the Friday filler yesterday, I was like, oh, okay, we're done. Thank you. Thanks for giving me a nice 4-day weekend. Goodbye. So
that's kind of how I was. I unlocked Cletus yesterday after I had a few days where I just didn't log in. I had maybe once a day, sometimes twice a day, but I just wasn't. I had such a crazy last couple weeks that I was a little behind. I was ahead, but then I was really behind. So I got Cletus last night, and I haven't touched my game since. I'm enjoying the little bit of a Springfield break.
Yeah, and what's funny is that, as you remember, for this act, EA actually took down the numbers required to hit the final. And it's like, why? Because it was so easy. I mean, unfortunately for my neighbors, I didn't care to go neighbor hunting. It didn't matter to me. I think, have, I don't know how many lawyers, because there's also nothing to craft. How many gun turrets can you have? I mean, we're going to build like an Eastern Seaboard pointed at Korea or something. I don't know. Whoa, where did that go? Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of, it's about all you can really buy. You could have lots of crowds, lots of gun turrets, or then what? I mean, a lot of the flashy lights and whatever. It's not going to look good after that. So anyway, I've got a lot of tickets to spend in the last day.
You've got 2 tickets to Paradise?
I've got 2,000 tickets to Paradise or something. I don't know.
Oh, I've got like 3. So, but yeah, no, I agree. The crafting is
let down.
Is rough.
Yeah, it was let down.
And yes, my apologies again. We also have a one almost 2-year-old who's learning how to potty train or learning how to go on the potty. So it's been a fun week of learning how to use the potty. It's very exhausting. But she just had a successful trip to the bathroom, as I can hear. So I apologize for the yays and the, that you may hear. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not. I know I can hear it. So
I'm going to call this the Circle of Life episode, because when you're talking about potty training, all it did was bring up all the conversations with my golf buddies last night about the later in life potty issues. It's hilarious. So we're gone full circle now. This is hilarious. I like it.
Yes. It's potty training's rough, guys. It's rough. She did it. She started earlier than I wanted her to, but she decided she was ready. She decided she no longer wanted to wear a diaper at school. So, and fortunately, her school is great with potty training. So she just decided she's done. When she's at school, she wears panties.
She's a
I'm
big
very
girl.
proud of her.
Yeah, it's funny is that every kid's different, and I've heard from not knowing, because I have 5 daughters. This is something maybe some people want to weigh in on. I've heard that boys are a whole different game. They don't care about it. They don't give a hoot. and they mostly use the outdoors when they get a chance. It's like, oh, that's just close enough. Here's a bush. So,
yeah, my nephew. I have 3 nephews. They all were later potty trainers than the girls.
Yeah, girls are just
one
like,
of them,
it's all cool. It's the first stage toward fashion. These diapers make my butt look bulky, so I need panties now.
Well, she was very excited. She got to pick out her own. This podcast has totally changed into something different than we originally started. Okay. But she was very excited. She got to pick out her own. So she picked out Minnie, of course, because she loves Minnie Mouse. And then she picked out Paw Patrol because she loves Paw Patrol. So she's very excited. Some days she wants to change in the middle of the day so she can wear one of each.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But
I never,
it's work in progress.
I was never, even as a kid, I was never into the whole cartoon underwear because I think it prompted me to look at my underwear more than I should. And it created halfway through the day, you got to check out to see what Batman's doing. Okay, well, I'm fine. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh, boy. All right, let's circle back to Homerpalooza.
Okay, here we go. Homerpalooza.
So yeah, there are a lot of crafting tickets. There weren't a ton of crafting items this time. I probably would give it, a B-, maybe a C. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I honestly think, and we talked about this in the video we recorded earlier this week, that's going to go up next week, but I'm planning on doing a post of what EA can do to make TSTO great again. And some of it is really going back to what they used to do. The old days, quote unquote, they used to have one prize track, and it was like, 10 prizes, 12 prizes, all in one list. And it took you a whole event to get it. And it was fun. And it was, you weren't so worried about what's changing, what's not changing. And it was the same thing, but this is all the same thing, just with different lipstick on.
Well, they also had way more, well, now we're getting ahead of ourselves again, but they also had way more content in regards to storyline and everything else. This gets off in so many different tangents. I have like several tasks for each of the characters I won that I haven't even started because I needed them for the stage, for the math thing becomes weird. So we'll see. I mean, again, we'll see how it comes down. I kind of get why EA does it this way because it's really simple and it's really lazy, but as you say, the lack of diversity of stuff is not good.
Well, that's it. I mean, and that's another thing too. Even within like the last year and a half, they really got, for lack of a better word, and to bring back your term, they got really lazy with dialogue.
Elfish. EA lazy ass programming. Elfish. That's what elfish means for those of you who don't know. So anyway.
With not to be confused with elfish, which we'll talk about in a couple months.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, they got really lazy with the dialogue. I mean, they had some really good, promising stuff, and then it just ends. It's like, oh, this is great. Let me see what happens, and then it just dies. Like the end of Homerpalooza wasn't. The dialogue from Homerpalooza wasn't anything.
No,
it was funny, but it was like.
Yeah, it was confusing, and we're done now. So. Yeah,
well, it makes sense as to why now, like, the garbage stuff's coming back, like the garbage truck and the street sweep, because like it talks about how the fans left a big mess. But I don't know. It feels like it ended flat.
Don't get me started on the street sweeper. How many people have posted that it's stuck in their western town? That's a weird.
That's where mine is.
Thing. Yeah, mine is too. I mean, as I posted in the post yesterday, I bought it. The first time I bought it, and somebody said, yeah, it's the only street sweeper that only a Keebler elf could drive or something. I mean, so it's very small. It's like a Roomba. But the deal is that mine took off over hill, dale, water, everything else, and finally, meandered to the western, and it's just stuck in the western town now. I don't get it. That's with weird.
Nessie, it just follows Nessie around.
I don't have Nessie, so I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, that's very weird. I don't understand why it's stuck, and that is a programming fail by EA again. Fail.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Anyway.
So. Well, I guess we kind of talked about what worked and what didn't there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We're kind of blown through that.
I mean, let's talk about the beginning of an event. And this happens with every event, no matter how it's laid out. This is just normal. Panic sets in. You see the goals. You see what's happening. Because when you play, the way that EA's designed a lot of these updates, especially in the last year or so, is that they're designed that you start out lower, and as you increase with the event, you unlock more items, you unlock more event currency, and it becomes easier as you go along, which is why for this event, they raised the, and most events in the past, they raise the goal level, how much you require to get, because it's easier to get the currency. And I know a lot of you guys have commented how you already have Cletus, and some of you are commenting you already had Cletus like last Tuesday. So,
which is crazy. I mean, talk about grinding. Sorry, folks. Get a life.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's like, so it's like in the beginning, there's always this goal panic. There's always like, oh my God, I'm not going to get everything. I'm not going to get everything. I'm not going to get everything. And a lot of times for Act 1, a lot of you don't get everything because there's an issue of the game doesn't update in time. There's an issue of, you're just not quite figuring out what's going on. So
yeah.
There's always confusion. So in the beginning, a lot of people don't get it. But towards the end, I mean, usually Act 3, everybody gets everything. But again, I think that if EA goes back to the old way of doing things where it's 12 prizes, no acts thing.
Or even, again, what I've said many times, and you're going to get tired of hearing it, is 2 acts with everything in 2 stacks and same number of prizes, but 2 acts that the whole thing lasts 4 weeks instead of 5 or 6, 4 weeks max. I mean, it just seems insane to go beyond that. So
what you're saying is you want Christmas winter 2016. That's what you're saying you want.
That's pretty much it, except with all the forget all the political crazy stuff that went on. Yeah. No, I don't want Christmas 2016 for that reason. But other than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you made Mom cry. So I'm sorry.
Yes, I wasn't crying, I promise.
I swear.
I wasn't crying.
You were.
There have been far worse things that have happened since then that have aggravated me way more. But Christmas really irritated me.
Yeah. Once again, when we finally hit the end of the road with this thing, we will publish a book of texts that we have sent one another behind the scene that should reveal a great deal of how we really feel. Because some of your stuff is hilarious. You're so nice online. I'm just going to say that. That's the hilarious part about the proverbial Bliss Ninny label. Dude, people, you don't get it. Behind the scene, no, she gets upset. And it's okay. It's good. It's good to know that she can vent to us, right?
I am Italian. I mean, come on.
That's I'm out of you. So anyway.
Yeah, I won't do that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, there are things that irritate me. But in the past, when I've called EA lazy or said something, I've had readers that have emailed me and gotten very mad at me for doing so. So I don't do that.
I've seen the show notes. We're going to get into readers getting mad in those situations, and I think that this is we'll talk about it later. But this is true. There are some diehard, dedicated EA can do no wrong types of folks out there. And at some point, you really have to come around and go, really? Come on.
Well, I will say EA is way better than TinyCo. I mean, the people at TinyCo, well, a lot of the people I know have left TinyCo, but people at TinyCo were very good, but they suck at running a game that's user-friendly. Just saying. So EA at least infuriates people for different reasons. It doesn't infuriate people to the point, and I told somebody this story before. Actually, I think it was Tape Belt I told this story to. When TinyCo first released Family Guy, the first Halloween event, so it released in March, so like that October.
Yeah.
Between the people not being able to get what they wanted, me being just aggravated, but I couldn't get what I wanted in that game. How irritating and infuriating it was that stuff wouldn't drop for you, because if for those who aren't familiar, that game, you have to collect items to unlock characters. And a lot of times, and then to collect the items, you have to send other characters on tasks for 1 hour all the way up to 24 hours, in some cases 36 hours. And each item has a different drop rate. Sometimes they'll always drop. Sometimes they'll occasionally drop. Sometimes they never drop. You could send them on an 8-hour task for 3 days straight and not get an item. That irritated the bejesus out of me, and it still does. So I was so aggravated between that This goes to show how nice I am online versus how I am in real life. I was so aggravated between readers screaming and yelling, between just being stressed out trying to do two games and 2 sites. I literally threw my laptop across the room to my living room, hurled it across the room against the wall, and smashed it into a bunch of pieces. That's how aggravated that game made me.
Wow.
So at least it was like a big brewing thing. Yeah, it was bad. But at least
I hope your new laptop is listening to that. So
yes. At least EA has not brought me to a point of that. I will say that. They'll infuriate me for other reasons, but it's usually minor stuff, and it's never to a point of like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take it. I mean, we're still doing this after 4 years. How many people are still blogging about Family Guy? I mean, come on.
No, it's true. And here's let's not go there. Here's something I will say though. The difference between TinyCo and EA is that TinyCo, even in their name, says we're tiny, we're small, we're hanging on by the skin of our teeth, we're trying to make this work in some way. I don't give them a pass because their game structure is inherently annoying, and I didn't even last 3 months, I don't think, with Family Guy. I was out. I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. I have a life. This is dumb. But EA is a huge, gigantic company, and they should do a better job when they do stuff. And they've subbed this stuff out all over the place, as we know. They've got teams that do stuff. They do the what it really feels like to me, and this is getting a little micro when we could be macro. The fact is, they feel like they've found an easy way to do it. They have a team and they go, okay, now you do this, find out what we can repurpose. We'll bring some of this stuff back because we have enough new players that haven't seen it. We have enough stuff we can offer out. But a lot of the stuff is donut driven. It's premium driven. They're bringing it back on that level. But the whole 3 acts thing really feels like, okay, this is the formula that works because we don't have to even think about it for more than X amount of time to do this. It's just moving stuff along in a platform. We'll drop the line there. We'll move this over there. It's really simple, lazy programming. So, anyway.
Well, and what they're doing too is they're copying TinyCo. I don't know how many people have played when Family Guy first came out, which was like I said, March of 2014 is when Family Guy first came out, and then which was not too long after this game, really kind of started to take off. Well, people started to say, "Oh, Family Guy's fun, because it was different."
Yeah.
Different doesn't always mean better, but initially for people, different was better.
Yeah.
So people were like, "Oh, this is great. They do this, they do that. They bring new content each week, this and that." So EA, because the way that a TinyCo game, a Family Guy game, actually Family Guy and Futurama too, the way that they're structured is that when they release events, big events like this Homerpalooza event we're doing now, each week there's new content. So week 1, you'll have new content. Week 2, you'll have new content for 4 weeks straight. So EA took that, and then TinyCo is also the one who started crafting. That was in their first,
right,
one of their first early events, and then soon after EA brought it over. So because of that, EA's like, oh, you notice a couple months after, like right after Stonecutters, they made that switch.
Right.
Event in 2014, they made that switch to do events like this, where it's acts. So it's 2 weeks per act. So you still get more time than you would in a TinyCo game, but they're bringing you new content. The problem is they're not really bringing you new content because they're terrible at hiding what's coming.
Yeah.
Exactly what's coming. So if they did it so that, and I hate saying this because I'm a person who takes advantage of knowing what's coming in the files and stuff, it helps me prepare to write this site. But if they did a better job at hiding things, better. If they just said, okay, this is what's coming out for the first 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, we'll release another update that's going to have to change the files over. Same thing with crafting. If they did the same thing with crafting, where they said, okay, this is for Act 1, everything else is locked, and you have no idea what's coming next.
Yeah.
That might make it a little bit different, although people would also be infuriated because they would have no idea what to save their donuts for. So
yeah, I mean, I think that is an interesting take on it, and you and some of the other people that do take advantage of the seeing the files ahead of time really have a different purview of that. I think for the regular players, mostly for me, it really does come down to the ultimate laziness, which is repurposing so much of the graphics and art that they've done before, changing a color, adding a this, whatever, to make it a different kind of searchlight. How many searchlights do you need in Springfield? Sorry. You know, you don't need 10,000. Sorry. You know, and yes, people might be able to draw their names, you know, happy birthday, mom, in searchlights in the middle of some patch in their Springfield. But no, that's not worth the grinding. Sorry. So anyway, okay. Well, we beat that to death.
This time, at least, the grinding was worth it in the very end because manager Cletus does pay premium, which is rare for a prize item to actually pay premium before it comes back as a premium item, because you know it'll come back as a premium item at some point. But it's pretty sweet that is a nice bonus for players that unlock them. So that's a good thing.
Well, it's a nice play. It's a nice, you know, and of course, I have admitted this before. I'll admit this in public again. I don't play for bonus. I don't, you know, quickie mark farm. I don't do any of that stuff. So I admit that I am the old school TSTO player that really just wants to build my town and make it cool and make it make sense. And so these kinds of elaborate events, now I'm going to have to figure out how many stages am I going to keep? You know, do I want to keep any stages? Am I going to find some place that makes sense? I mean, the one near the airport, being an homage to Woodstock 99, is perfect. I mean, I love that because I have it sandwiched right between the airport and the dump, which pretty much tells the story of Woodstock 99. But but you know, the rest of it, I'll be curious to see what sticks around. I mean, you probably know, I don't know. What sticks around, which tasks are going to be around. You know, once I got Bleeding Gums Murphy, I was a happy camper. Life is good. I would like to see Spinal Tap. I'm now going to make Spinal Tap my next thing that I'm going to say over and over again. Please give me Spinal Tap. So anyway.
Just not a Spinal Tap.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Wow, that one.
Better be careful.
Yeah, that's right. Be careful how you pray. Yeah. It's like my mom who keeps praying for rain, right? She keeps praying for rain. I said, Mom, you're not being specific. You're drowning the rest of the United States right now in rain, and Oregon is dry. Please say Oregon, and even Portland would be great. So anyway, go ahead.
All right, let's get to some reader comments, because like I said at the top, this is supposed to be interactive, and while you and I could talk and talk and talk, let's bring some readers in.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab some coffee while you read this. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, can you hear me though, is the question.
Yes.
So, all right. So Curious Mark says, I found the best part of this event was the early bonut rounds after completion of the quest lines. Everything else was mediocre at best. Act 1 was good because of the new characters offered, but after that, it was too much of character skins and lackluster crafting content. How is a gun turret? How does a gun turret have anything to do with music? I agree. It was, which is a lot of what we just talked about. And the gun turret, though, I think they tried to make it so that it would be like a confetti cannon that a lot of places use. But yeah, no. They missed the boat.
Well, hold on just a second. I got back just in time. You can tell my coffee is a little ways away. I actually had to hustle on that one. I'm out of breath. You know, it's funny is that for the first time, I made that connection that maybe it really is supposed to be a confetti cannon. But no, that's a full-on gun turret. I mean, that would blow someone's head off. I don't care if there's confetti in it or not. So it was weird. It was a weird addition to the game. I don't get it. You know, they should have, you know what they should have done is brought back the t-shirt cannon move somehow. You know, if for those that didn't have mod, bring back the t-shirt cannon and have her shooting t-shirts into the crowd. There you go. There you go, EA.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, Lee says, I pressed B, then changed it to C. Same 3 acts, same crafting, same level up your characters. Yes, I think that's general. It's the same. It's rinse and repeat. I've said that multiple times on this show. It's rinse and repeat.
Also known as ELP. For those of you, I want that term emblazoned in your head. ELP, correct.
I like rinse and repeat.
ELP.
Lego Dude says, first episode I've tuned in for. Well, welcome. I hope you caught the other ones on replay, and this is the first one you tuned in live for. But I rated it a B2. It wasn't the best, but certain things I really like BGM, even though he is a premium. And some of the craftables and prizes are quite interesting.
Yeah.
Mirko says, C, the event was average and repetitive. Some prizes not interesting, but the event was also easy. So it probably gets higher marks for some people than like other events that are repetitive because it was easy. It was easier to complete.
It was.
Let's see.
I mean, there's that quality of life thing. Let's say that again. I think part of the thing that I like about TSTO is you can actually play it regularly and have a life. You know, a unique concept. You don't have to be a gamer sitting in your concrete bunker eating Cheetos for 48 hours at a time. You can actually do it.
Listen, don't bring Wookiee into this. Don't bring Wookiee into this. Just because he sits and eats Cheetos all day, you don't have to bring him into this. He's a good guy.
Come on. In his defense, he goes to school too.
He has good furry hugs. You know, don't bring Wookiee into this.
Right.
All right. Diaspa says, I probably didn't say that right. I think they need to take a break from crafting as part of events. Most of it is not useful items, and the final item to craft is no longer something worth grinding for. Surprised they still have as much crafting with the server space limits on items. And
yeah, actually,
they
what's
also
interesting is they keep bumping that server space, though, so that's part of it. It keeps going up.
It's getting better. So, I mean, as devices get better and people, upgrade their device and they eliminate older devices, they can do a lot more.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, I think I was going to point that out. I think this is the third one in a row that the final prize actually felt worse than the prize before that. So we got Rappin' Bart, which I thought was pretty cool, and he's fun. But the Cletus thing, even though there's the bonus, I know there's the bonus, the Cletus bit was like, the truck doesn't go anywhere. Oh,
They also added that the best change for this event was less friend actions, but more currency per tap. No one needs to go through 90 friend actions per day.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes.
I agree, although some people like to. And then Silly Boy adds. We haven't heard from Silly Boy in a while, so hi, Silly Boy.
Yeah.
I think you're up in Oregon too, so hopefully you're staying safe from those fires up there. It becomes so formulaic. Thank you. Maybe it's an Oregon word. My degree in English doesn't help me some days.
An Oregon word.
Listen, okay. In Jersey we have sausage. I mean.
That's true.
Sausage and coffee. I mean, come on.
That is a word that's
more of a stat.
Jersey guys. True. Good point. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let's see. It's hard to distinguish one from the next. So in my mind, Homerpalooza is average. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that someday in the future, EA will surprise us with an original idea for an event.
That's kind of harsh.
I'm glad you say that you're keeping your fingers crossed and not your breath held.
Yeah, and let's not go to Wookiees, what he does with both hands, the wish and the other wish. That we'll leave that one for Wookiees, to bring back to the pantheon of bad sayings. One thing I will remind people, for those of us that have been playing forever, Halloween. I don't know how they say it in Jersey. Halloween.
Halloween? No, that's not right.
Halloween. There we go.
Halloween.
And Christmas, generally one of those ends up setting the tone for the next year. So to say that they don't innovate is completely wrong. I'm sorry. Not dissing on one of my Oregonian buddies, but that's completely wrong. They do change the game a lot in big, giant chunks. So I think we're due for one of those. We've been running on this 3-act routine really since last year around this time, coming up. So we are probably due for something different. We don't know. We don't know what that's going to be. But they do.
Bring back the wheel.
Oh.
I want to see Pat's head explode. No, I'm just kidding.
That may be what takes me out. But to your point, I think certainly you can be more innovative with whatever your big giant formula is for the year. I'd like to see something different. I agree.
Well, hey, look, in 2013, they set the tone at Christmas with the wheel. They brought it back for Valentine's Day with the wheel, and then they innovated and changed it for Easter to make it boxes.
Yeah, there you go. Talk about driving people out. That must have, I think that drove more players off the game percentage-wise than probably any other thing they ever did. That was just
I don't know, horrible. Because Stonecutters happened that summer, and Stonecutters, we did like 4 million hits that month. So people away, or Stonecutters just brought them back. I don't know.
Well, Stonecutters is such a what's the word I'm looking for? It's an epic. Iconic? Yeah, iconic. There's that must be a Jersey word. Anyway, I almost got you to spit your coffee.
We do have our icons here.
It's true. No, I mean the point is a couple of those things. That the monorail. There's a few of those that were just when this happens, boy, it's going to be something. It'll bring people out of the woodwork. And you know, you asked this question. I can't remember. It's all running together now. You asked this question. What's the the one big event that you want to see? Man, I think we're running out of iconic events. That's the problem. Unless they go to something super hardcore like the movie where they dome Springfield, and I mean, that's crazy stuff. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Happy Tapper wrote
point, don't use the cannons you just got.
Happy Tapper wrote won our design a main event contest on that idea. So EA could just steal his idea, and I think he'd probably pass out from excitement.
I'd pay money to see that.
Silly Boy adds that the smoke has been bad for a few days, but the last few days have been good. So that's good. I'm glad you're staying safe. And
yeah, I played a golf tournament yesterday in Portland where it has been horrendous, and there's been evacuations all up and down the gorge. On a quick report, they saved, thank goodness, our beloved Multnomah Falls Lodge got saved. That absolutely would have been a heartbreaker. And as it's turning out, the weather's helping a little bit. We had a lightning thunder thing, lots of rain. It's starting to clear up. Our breathing index is now into the yellow, which was for days and days and days was pegged so hard red that it was like breaking the needle. I mean, you couldn't go outside. You could chew the air. It was awful. So it's all good. And just on a side note, not wanting to say anything in a braggadocio tone, but I did get a hole-in-one yesterday at the tournament. Yay, yay me. So we'll just go with that.
And everybody got free drinks, which is why we started late today.
Yes, they did get free drinks.
My fault.
It's a weird tradition that you get the hole-in-one and have to buy everybody else drinks. So anyway, go ahead.
Ebron adds, if I never see another lawyer in my game, I will be eternally grateful. Well, I think we all could use less lawyers in our life.
Yeah, let's go with that. In real life, here's the funny thing about the lawyers that I never really understood. You kind of stumbled across them, and if you clicked a few of them, you helped your friend out. But the reality was, if you had lawyers, drop them, and it didn't matter. You got bonused whether they got found or not. So I found it as just like free bling. I didn't think it was that big a deal. But people were really bummed about the lawyers. What do you think?
I liked them. I didn't mind them. I mean, I'd still have like 200. I just because I haven't had time to drop them.
Yeah,
but a little quick bonus to get. I want to talk about. We're going to come back to this. I know some of you are still commenting about this, and we'll come back to it towards the end. But I want to get to something because I don't want to forget to get to this because this is the appropriate time to get to this. Patric, what did you do to piss off an entire internet full of Weird Al fans?
Here's where I'm going to go.
People come in that don't play TSTO that came just to yell at you.
God, I mean, you got to love the internet, right? I mean, the good news is we finally figured out on like day 3 of the Bash Patric Fest that somehow the Googleplex had started drawing out actual hardcore Al fans from all over. I mean, I got personal emails from Al's best friend in real life that starts, I don't play the game. I'm just giving you that. And I know you have your opinion. And then boom, this is the nicest guy. I mean, they're comparing, you know, Weird Al to the Pope, for God's sake. So here's the thing about music, and I'm just going to say this because it's going to come up again. I'm just going to lay it out. It's going to come up again. Music is subjective, all right? You can have an opinion about music that is not right or wrong. You can feel strongly about that opinion. I actually canceled my Rolling Stone subscription back in the early 2000s because, and this is just shows that I'm not, you know, even though I'm in music and I understand this whole conversation, I canceled it because they came out with one of those idiotic top 100 guitarist polls, right? And Jack White was in like number 10 or 11 or some idiotic, and some great guitar players were like in the 50th and the 60th. It was ridiculous. And I just thought, okay, this makes my point. So this is where I'm going to go with the whole Weird Al thing. I am going to come back and admit that apparently you have to see Weird Al live to appreciate his art form. And I used massive rabbit ears, big, giant rabbit ears. His art form. You have to see him live. All right. And I'm going to give you that. If I can see the guy live next time he's in town or anywhere near me, I will go see Weird Al live because I feel like I owe it to the Weird Al fans that I have now traumatized, apparently. So when I do that, I will come back and I will write something about Weird Al live. I understand he gets an incredible show, amazing energy, blah, blah, blah. But come on, people. If you go back and look through his pantheon of wonderful hit, maybe, there's a couple of things that actually broke the charts on some level. He's creative, he's funny, but he is the same trick over and over again. And he's not a great musician. Yeah, well, there you go. He's not a great musician. He's not a great writer. He's not whatever. They keep saying, you should go listen to the ones he wrote. And it's like, well, the ones he wrote are derivative of himself. It's like he's making fun of himself. So it's like, okay, look, I'm done. I'm done with the conversation, but I'm sure I'll get some emails from just what I'm saying right now.
Don't you worry. I made sure to tag this video now.
You are an evil human being. I want everybody to understand. She is manipulative. She knows how to get under people's skin. This is still payback. She still hasn't forgiven me. Let's not forget this. This is her way of coming back. Anyway, yes, we tweaked a ton of Weird Al fans that aren't TSTO players. A few TSTO players. I tried to be respectful, but come on. No. I mean, he wouldn't even make my top 500 artists, and that says a lot. There you go.
Don't worry, Pat. I wouldn't get under your skin if I didn't think you could handle it. So,
and the problem is that sometimes, obviously, if you ask me a question that I'm actually passionate about, I can ramble for a while. But it was fascinating. I was fascinated by the depth of passion that some of these people have for Weird Al. It's like, wow.
Yeah, you know? It was intense. I was surprised because I originally had said to Pat, because I was going to do what I usually do with premium characters. I was going to do that with Weird Al and just kind of give us tasks and a quick overview. Wasn't going to do a where did that come from inclusive thing. I was going to let Wook or Safi's going to tackle something. I was going to let them do that. But Pat was like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I was like, you know what? Take this post. I said, I don't care how you do it. All I care about is that the tasks are on that post.
Therein lies the problem.
Apparently that was my mistake. Pat, I don't care how you do it. As long as you do this, 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 this. Apparently I need to give better directions. So, but I mean, I didn't even think it was that hardcore, except for the comparison to Taylor Swift, which with Taylor Swift coming out and being the most divisive character in the world right now. Just shake it off. Shake it off. But yeah, so I've gone the direction Pat went, but I read the post before I posted it and I was like, oh, this isn't bad. This is actually kind of funny. I didn't expect that much. I was like, oh, no. Boy, okay.
No, I mean, the thing is, you know this, and most people that actually know me realize that, the cranky old guy thing is mostly a persona. I get into a mode, I get into the cranky skin, and I write a lot of this stuff semi tongue in cheek to be a little bit confrontive just for fun. I mean, just to shake it up. Everybody knows that. This one, I didn't even think was that bad. I mean, I really didn't think it was that bad. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, was I wrong about. It makes me wonder how many other cults are out there. You know, these guys
Scientology.
Yeah,
bring it up.
Exactly.
we had to say it. Sorry, Scientology and PETA. Those are those. PETA goes
these
back
are
to
people that are wearing
episode
like a Weird Al, Eat It T-shirt underneath their $500 Brooks Brothers suits to work. These are hardcore. These are like the guys that are deadheads, and I've got loads of friends like that. I get it, but man,
it was interesting.
Weird Al.
Apparently, you talking about Weird Al was more controversial than you telling them, writing the letter to EA about Christmas. So
yeah, apparently so.
Go figure.
Apparently so. Yeah. Who figures?
Speaking of Christmas, while we're not going to talk about Christmas, let's kind of jump to what might be next, what's coming next, because this Homerpalooza ends Tuesday.
Can we even call it Christmas this year?
Well, let me clarify something, because some people, I'm not going to name names, have always said to me, it's not Christmas, it's winter, it's winter, it's winter. EA always classifies the images or the files as Xmas, which bothers me anyway, but they call it Xmas. So it's Xmas 2012, Xmas 2013, Xmas 2014, 15, 16. That's how they're categorized in the files. And if you look at the pop-up screen that comes up, it usually says holiday, winter, Christmas/winter. It says something like that in one of those pop-ups. So that's why we call it Christmas. Sorry. I mean, I know it's snow and stuff, but that's why we call it Christmas. We're not being
we can have this debate every year, and we will, because I think that every year there's going to be the camps that come out. And again, I used to think that the camps were relatively crazy when you really got down to a pragmatic way of looking at it, until the Weird Al thing, and now I know what crazy is. But let's go with the fact that every year, because it is a raging national debate and a culture war and a whatever, all these different wars, we're going to have the conversation again. I don't think EA can win this one. They're done. There's no way they can win this battle. If they come out with a hardcore Christmas one, which wouldn't bother me at all, then it will make a whole bunch of people upset.
I'll take Hanukkah. I mean, I'd love a Hanukkah event, although they already brought Rabbi
we're kind of due. I mean, we're kind of due. I think they kind of slid right past Rabbi Krostovsky without really giving due to what they could do there. But, I mean, it's realistically, they would have to go pretty broad. They'd have to do Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Christmas and all these different things, which really is the underlying reality of who we are in the United States. We have to be inclusive. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll see where this all comes down. Go ahead.
Well, it's the fall. Like we talked about at the top, it's the fall. So the Simpsons are coming back. Halloween is right around the corner, believe it or not. I mean, September 9th already. So Halloween is a little over a month away. If you go to some stores, it's almost Christmas. So
yeah, it's already
out.
I
think what we're in for next is we're gonna get a mini event, because this event ended, and there's still. I don't think we'll see Halloween before October. And I've said this to some people, and I've said it in posts, and I've said it to some people in comments too. I don't think we're going to get Halloween until the beginning of October. Probably October 1st, which will run until like the second week of November, like it usually does. Mm-hmm. But so I think we're going to get a mini event that'll last us 2 weeks. That'll lead into the season premiere, because the season premiere is like right before Halloween. It's like the week. I think it's the Sunday right before October. So it's still in September, but it's like right before October. So I think we'll get a mini event followed by a season premiere episode tie-in, because we always get one. Every year that this game has been running, there's been a season premiere episode tie-in. Is in fact the best promotion for The Simpsons, because I'm sure there are a ton of people out there that have stopped watching the show that started watching it again because of this game.
I'm going to guess you're right on that. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a weird anomaly that the show is a push-pull with the game, et cetera, et cetera. I think some people probably come to the game because they start watching The Simpsons again. It's a weird It's a weird push-pull, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, and then we'll see Halloween next episode, which is we're going to try to do it in 2 weeks. We're going to try to get back on a schedule here now that summer's winding down, and Pat doesn't have a wedding until
February.
February, right? Yeah, February. So,
yes.
You know what's funny? I think when there's only 2 of us on the show, I don't think they can see the little boxes in the bottom that they do when it's Joe, me, and you.
Well, I have to talk. That's right. I have to talk for it to pop or something, right?
Yeah. So usually they could see the boxes if there's 3 of us, 3 or 4 of us. They can see the little boxes. But I think when it's only 2, there's no boxes. So you and I are making facial expressions and doing things in the little boxes, and they have no idea what we're doing.
So we're entertaining the heck out of each other, which is mostly what we do anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Welcome to our world.
So, but yeah, on our next episode, assuming that it hasn't hit, because I don't think it will, we're going to talk about Halloween. We'll talk about some speculation ideas and things like that. We'll talk about that then. But just to kind of give you a little preview of what we think will happen. We'll see a mini event, season premiere, and then the next big event will be Halloween.
Which usually
EA decides to totally screw us over and not give us Halloween this year. I mean, they didn't give us Christmas last year, so, you know.
Yeah, it usually ends up being one of the better events. I mean, that's kind of when they pull out the stops. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Although I was let down last year. Last year was the first year that I think Halloween was like, oh no, it wasn't as good.
We've done so many Halloween events that they've all run into each other. It was last year the spooky campfire one.
Yeah.
Because then the year before was the
oh man.
Man, what the heck? There's so many. We've done so many that they all just run into each other. Like I think the year before was the Acorn Kirk.
Yeah, maybe.
One. That was the one where they had the actual Simpsons canon Halloween episode.
Yeah, that might have been. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so maybe that was 3 years ago. Oh wow.
They all run into each other. It's so many events. They all just smash into each other.
Yep.
All right, so let's do a little Q&A. Do you guys have any questions? Feel free to ask them. We've got a couple minutes. We'll do some Q&A, and then we'll talk about the poll and get out of here so everybody can enjoy the rest of their Saturday. Let's see. Stone 6040 says, I still think looking at the length of main events is misguided. For better or worse, EA has moved into the 3-act format. It's better to simply think of a main event as a mini event trilogy, 6 weeks with a common theme. And what benefit is there to shorten it with no event running? Some folks, like newer players, need the extra time. Other folks can simply ignore the event shortening. Shortening main events only eliminates options. So they're not a proponent.
No, that's not true. I mean, I don't mean to disregard or disrespect his opinion, because virtually everyone has an opinion, including Weird Al fans. But the the fact is that you don't have to diminish any of the things you talked about by shortening the event. You just change the numbers. You change the algorithms. It's all achievable and believable and maintainable by changing the numbers however you want to change them. So I think they're too long. The trilogy thing, this guy immediately makes me think he's my brain just a Hobbit fan, you know. I mean, everybody wants a trilogy on everything right now. I think that's a downside of where we are socially with all of the comic book movies and all that stuff. You never really get to the end. They just keep going forever. So I would rather see more events. You know, we could have more major events if they were shorter. They don't all have to be 6 weeks long. That's all. So sorry, I respectfully disagree with your opinion, sir.
Silly Boy, going back to the Weird Al conversation, says parody is an art form. So is satire. 2 hallmarks of The Simpsons.
And it doesn't make the music any better. Sorry.
Let's see. Renee says, other than Christmas,
he's from my state, right? He could find me. He could hunt me down and like shoot, you know, glitter or something at my front door. You know, he's if he's really a true hardcore Al fan, I gotta be careful.
Oh man.
Go ahead. You can have an opinion, silly boy. Go ahead.
Renee says, other than Christmas/Halloween, my favorite event ever was the casino event, since that one they have been so since the casino event, the events have been This one, no exception. I hope Christmas is actually Christmas other than winter holiday themed. Last year's winter event was okay, but not what I looked forward to. I have to agree. The casino event was fun because they did different stuff. Like you had the game element, and that was fun.
It was phenomenal. It has so many different ways to gamble and so many different ways to earn and so many different ways. I thought that was, I don't know, that may be for me that one of the high water marks. I mean, it was really creative, really creative.
Yeah, they need to do more stuff like that. They need to do stuff like that. They need to do stuff like the Stonecutters, where they, not necessarily a Stonecutter event, but they need to bring back those riddles that they did every day. It was like, find this character that does this and do that. That was fun. It was a fun element.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. It takes work.
Same with the casino. Yeah, they just need to make it, exciting again. Says, hurry up. I think 4 hours is up and my quickie marts are built. And Silly Boy wants to know, it's a question for Alyssa. Why do you frown on quickie mart farmers so much? I don't think there's anything wrong. This is like a very common misconception. I don't think there's anything wrong with you quickie mart farming. I don't think there's anything wrong with donut farming. That's why we have posts about it on the site. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. What I have an issue with is people who do it in excess. There are people that have thousands upon thousands of tens of thousands of donuts from doing that. And to me, at least the way I play the game, and I use donuts. Like I put money in the game because I don't have patience to quickie mart farm. I just don't. I put physical money into the game every 6 months. I put at least $100 into my own game. And then our games for the site, I put money in probably way more often than I'd like to admit. But I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem with is in excess. So when it's in excess, to me, it takes the fun out of the game. When it doesn't matter what something does, you're just going to buy it no matter what. It's not fun to me. It just kind of takes the fun out of the game. The same problem I have with people that hack the game. Aside from the fact that you're, cheating in a sense, you're violating the terms of the game. Whereas quickie mart farming, you're not. You're doing, EA set it up that way. You're just, gaming the system. I don't think it's fun when you do it that way. If you had 100,000 donuts, what would there be to work towards? Why would you be working towards it? Now, I know a lot of people with quickie mart farming, they're like, oh, well, I'm building up my money so I can keep farming and keep getting more donuts. It's not the same to me. It's just not as fun. I have no problem with doing it if you do it within reason. It's the excess.
It's a different thing. I mean, I would draw a line big time between hackers and quickie mart farmers. But I guess part of the thing with me is that it comes down to that time thing. It is extremely obsessive to have to, you have to log on a ton all the time to work the system, to get the donuts, to hit the levels, to whatever. I think I'm like level, I don't know where I'm like the mid 200s or something. I mean, I just don't care. They show up when they show up. But here's the deal. I don't have any issue with people that are, fanatics about that stuff. And I think it's okay if you want to do that. But I truly start to question how much time you're giving to something that really gives very little back. I mean, in reality, in your real life, I would hope that you find some other thing to do with your time, because time is valuable. And those of us that are old realize how much more valuable it is, because we're running out. But anyway, the thing is, I get that. And I think, unfortunately, EA has, to a degree, shifted how much they charge for certain things and how many premium items they drop, knowing that a whole bunch of people aren't paying cash for it anyway. So it just puts more of an onus on people that really do use cash. First of all, it makes it more expensive. And then the second thing is this bizarre obsession that goes along with it, with the bonus multipliers. When people start confessing that they're at 2,000, or I don't know, they're crazy numbers of multiplying. It's like, really? So I get that there's some weird sense of satisfaction, but it starts feeling a little bit like Rain Man counting matchsticks,
I think people are, with quickie mart farming, I think what they're doing is turning a game with no strategy into strategy. into a game of strategy. So they have
Correct.
a plan, they have a formula, you know, this is my strategy, this is how I'm going to do it. Correct. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have nothing against people that do that. The only time I take exception with it is when you do it in excess. I have no problem if you quickie mart farm and get a couple thousand donuts. That's fine. Doesn't bother me at all. What I have a problem with is when you quickie mart farm and you get so many donuts that it doesn't matter what you buy, how you buy it, because in real life, nobody lives that way. Even if you have a ton of money, you still don't live that way. You still think about what you're getting before you get it. So there's a little bit of a...
This is getting deep. This is getting really deep.
To me, at least the way that I would play the game, it takes the fun out of it. I don't buy every premium character because I put money into this game. I don't buy every single thing that comes along because there's some stuff I'm like, that's ugly. I don't want that in my Springfield. There are people out there that buy it just because they can. And to me, it takes the fun out of the game. It takes the fun out of the game. Now, I understand doing it, like I said, the strategy where there is no strategy, trying to make the game into something different. I get it. I totally get it. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And I have no issue with quickie mart farmers. I really don't. I have no, that's why we've written posts about it. That's why I have posts on the site. If I had a problem, I wouldn't have the post on the site. Because remember, at the end of the day, still my site. So nothing gets up without me saying yes or no to it. So Pat thinks it's funny because I let everything he writes get up. But
you should be protecting me. Anyway, go ahead.
But no, like I have no issue with it. It's just to me, the way that I play the game, it takes the fun out of it to me. So when I write a should I buy post and I'm like, really you should look at it like this or that, or this. Even if you're a premium player, you might want to pass on this because the design is ugly. Now, some people are going to be like, oh, I like that design, and that's fine. Some people are going to be like, well, I have the donuts anyway. I'm just going to buy it.
Right.
And to me, why buy something if you wouldn't normally buy it?
Well, it also goes back to my original thing, which is if you're trying to design a town that has context and is cool, my old frame of reference used to be, I want my Springfield to be a town that I would actually live in. So it's like I wanted to have enough realism to it to make it fly. A lot of the stuff that you get with the donuts is just silly stuff. I mean, they're killing it. They're trying to make it in some way. Let's draw out some of these guys that have the donut thing. It's like, come on. I mean, it is like playing golf. I wanted to go back to golf. Lots of guys play golf with foot wedges and mulligans and all this other stuff. It's still fun. I get it. But it's not golf. It's not what the game was intended to be. So while there is this giant hole that EA is allowing to happen, with the quickie mart farming thing, I get it. It's kind of built in. It's a hidden Easter egg. I don't believe it was the original intent of EA ever. I don't believe it. But whatever the case is, they're too lazy to go back and fix it or plug it up. Because if they went back now, oh my goodness, you think Weird Al fans are whack jobs. Imagine if they stopped, if they actually killed quickie mart farming, imagine the outcry. So
well, remember when they upped the XP for it and people freaked out? Yeah. And to no surprise, Silly Boy disagrees with everything that we're saying and added and a town has to have people living in it. So I buy every premium character that comes along. Thank you, Quickie Mart Farm. Listen, if that's how you want to play, that's fine. But don't expect me. Listen, I'm a Yankee fan. I've said this. I've used this example plenty of times. I'm a Yankee fan. I am a baseball purist. I get really, really, really pissed off when they change the Yankee uniform. The best uniform in baseball, and they change it. When they did that stupid Players Weekend, irritated the crap out of me because they had last names on the jerseys. You don't do that. When you play in New York, you wear pinstripes. You wear blue and white pinstripes. You don't put camo on them. You don't put flags on them. That's what you wear. That's how I am. That's how I play this game.
Don't ask her about A-Rod. Ooh.
But that's how I am. So listen, everybody's going to disagree. That's how it is. But I don't have a problem with you doing it. I just take exception when there's people that do it in excess. You may be somebody that does it. You get a couple thousand. Okay. You probably get the equivalent of what $100 would be, which is fine. But there are people out there, believe it or not, who get it excess of 10,000, 20,000 donuts, who have XP percentages all the way up to like tens of thousands of percent. It's crazy to me. I'm sorry. It's just not how I would play the game. But then again, Futurama irritates me.
It is a get a life thing.
Family Guy irritates me. So games with strategy, I just like playing. So that's me.
I'm more concerned for the people's lives. I mean, it takes way too much time to do that, and take up knitting, find a hobby.
And Silly Boy wants everybody to know that he's laughing right now. By the way, he's not angry or combative, just enthusiastic, and that's great. Everybody's got their opinion. Everybody has their way of representing it, and that's fine.
Well, let's be honest about it. Some of our very best TSTO addict friends are the most opinionated. So we're fine. We totally get that. We're good. We're going to put you in a box now, Silly Boy. We're going to put you in one of our special boxes in our spreadsheet. But I'm joking.
Our list. No.
Yeah, that's right.
And on that note, we were doing so good on time, and then we got into that conversation, and that But that's how it rolls, and that's the purpose of the show, to be interactive, right? So
here we go.
It wouldn't be fun. Why would we be doing it live? So on that note, I think we're gonna sign off for this week. Next episode is gonna be the 23rd, so in 2 weeks, I think is what we're shooting for. But stay tuned. Next week I'm gonna try to have that bonus episode we talked about at the top up. That was pre-recorded, so
you're gonna have to put it up twice. You have to put up an edited version and the original raw footage, so they can know what we're talking about. Wookie.
We lost Joe. All right, so everyone enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the end of Homerpalooza. You got a couple more days. Pat, do you have anything you want to?
Yes, I want to tag two things. First of all, yesterday I put up a plea for the Ouija projects, and holy mogoly, did people respond. Thank you very, very, very much. Keep adding to the pot. Every dollar that goes in goes somewhere that is useful. But man, there was some very generous folk out there yesterday that jumped in and got us where we need to get. But every dollar helps, and keep it going. And there's no end to the project. So thank you very much. On the second part of that is go Ducks! We're playing Nebraska today. And hopefully, please, Lord, let us not be a sham of what we might be from last year.
And
you're going to hear somebody calling me right now saying, are you watching the game? Are you going to watch the game?
Football started. Yay! And one quick plug. I don't know how long this is going to last for, because I only have so much brain span for this, but we did start, after popular demand, a Futurama Addicts site, despite the fact that the game drives me crazy. But we have a good team of writers that are going to do a lot. I did it because so many people asked for it. So there is a Futurama Addicts site. You can get there two ways. You can go to futuramaaddicts.com or FWOTaddicts.com. Russian Tigger is doing a lot of it. So you guys, big ups to Russian Tigger for doing that. Plus Family Guy. She's a brain of her own when it comes to TinyCo. So yeah, if you're playing Futurama, we're still a work in progress. There's a lot of stuff going up, and I'm going to help get a lot of that backlog up. But once that's all done, I step back as far away as I can, because I kind of get, as you could tell, my opinion about TinyCo in the beginning of this episode. But yeah, futuramaaddicts.com or FWOTaddicts.com if you guys need help with Futurama. And that's it. I think that's all I've got.
That's all I've got.
All right, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we're out. Bye-bye.